Hi, my name's Maria. I live here with my family, my husband Luke and my two sons Ethan and Logan. My eldest son Ethan was diagnosed with Fragile X syndrome when he was 2 years old. He's now 4.5. At first, when we were given the diagnosis, we had no idea what it was. Most people, Fragile X is something that they've never heard of, and it turns out it's a intellectual disability. We got a call from our paediatrician on a Saturday morning after months of waiting, and were asked to come in first thing Monday morning. So we knew they'd found something. So we were pretty nervous waiting to go in to see him. And when we were told that he had Fragile X syndrome, Luke and I didn't really know what to expect. It's quite a scary thing when the paediatrician tells you that your son has a lifelong condition, no cure for it, and you realise that the journey you think you're on as a parent is completely changing in that one instance. It was a bit heartbreaking. In that one moment, I felt that everything around me just came closing in, and I was angry. An overwhelming amount of guilt. So Luke and I went away and we did as much research as we could and found out as much information as we could and figured out the best way forward for Ethan and what we needed to do for him to give him the best life possible. So at that stage we also had a 4-month-old son, Logan. So even though he was developing so differently, the paediatrician was quite certain that he didn't have it because he was just so different. But just to just to be sure, we sent him off for the blood tests just to see if he did have it, just to cross that off the list. And as it turns out, we got the results 5 months later that Logan too also has Fragile X syndrome. So both our boys have this condition. It's an intellectual disability, so it means that their development will be delayed. They'll face challenges the rest of their lives. It's very similar to autism. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. So once we got Logan's diagnosis and we realised that both our boys had Fragile X syndrome, you can't help but feel angry. It was such a moment in time that we'll never forget. But soon you realise that being angry doesn't make it better. It's not going to change their condition. So we took some time out, we had a cry, shed some tears, and educated ourselves on what we could do best to help them and give them the best life possible. So we've put them into an early intervention program at Kids Therapy Centre, and there they do their physiotherapy, speech therapy and occupational therapy, and we have seen such a huge improvement in both of them since doing this.
Hi, my name's Lisa and I live across the road. I'm a neighbour of Maria's. We've lived in Kensington for the past 14 years, and Maria and Luke moved in 2 years ago, and since they have become our neighbours, our community has just become so much closer. Everybody has begun to meet everybody, and my children play with her children, well, most days. We go to the park together, and our girls have learnt so much from Maria and Luke's little boys. They're very vibrant children, and our girls just love them, and we go swimming with them. We send food to each other's homes, and we go to the park together and play, and it's just been a real privilege to watch these little boys grow, and when they get a new word we all delight in it, and when they learn to swim or duck dive or do something that sometimes can be quite tricky. But, you know, it's just a wonderful blessing to just be able to experience that with Maria and Luke, and know that they're there for us, and we're always going to be there for them. It's just a real privilege. So even though both our boys have Fragile X syndrome, they are completely different.
The severity between each person with the syndrome varies greatly. So we like to say they're like day and night. Ethan suffers a lot from anxiety, overwhelmed in loud and busy situations, can't cope if things happen that he's not prepared for. If someone suddenly comes home and he doesn't know that they're coming over, it can lead to a huge meltdown. Where on the flip side, Logan's quite social. He loves being around people and other kids, and he loves when people come over. He gives the best welcome homes and cuddles and kisses. So raising two boys with the same syndrome who are completely different leads to so many different challenges. Living with Fragile X is tough, I'm not gonna lie. It's tough, like everything we do is hard. So even though we have a lot of tough moments in every day, we also have a lot of fun, happy moments. They are the best of mates. They love getting into mischief together. Logan's often leading Ethan astray. They love playing with water. They enjoy the simplest of things. Watching the buses drive past brings them absolute joy every single day. Watering the garden and swimming in the pool and watching the wiggles. They've just taught us to enjoy the simple things and really appreciate the small moments in life and not to take them for granted. Yeah.